What if I told you that the biggest mistake of my life happened 25 years ago, and I'm still living with the consequences? My name is Linda, and this is a story of how I threw away the most precious part of my life, believing I was chasing happiness. Spoiler, I wasn't. Let me take you back to 1999. I was 35 years old at the time, married for 15 years to David, my college sweetheart. Together, we were raising 5 wonderful children. Our youngest was just 3. David was a hard-working man who juggled 2 jobs, so I could stay home and care for kids. He wasn't the most romantic person in the world, but he was dependable, loyal, and entirely committed to our family. Even after long shifts, he'd come home drained and still find the energy to help with schoolwork, repair things around the house, and read bedtime stories. But somehow, over time, I convinced myself that reliability wasn't enough. I longed for excitement, for the butterflies I used to feel back in our college days. I wanted something more, something that felt alive. Then came Marcus. He was my friend's divorced brother, and he began showing up at family gatherings and barbecues. He was the opposite of David in nearly every way, spontaneous, charismatic, and endlessly flattering. He'd tell me how stunning I looked, how lucky David was to have me. And while David worked late into the evenings, Marcus would send messages that made me feel seen, desired, and alive again. What started as innocent meetups over coffee slowly turned into deeper, more vulnerable conversations. We bonded over how emotionally unfulfilled we both felt in our lives. Within 3 months, I was completely caught up in the fantasy Marcus sold me. He spoke of a new life filled with travel, adventure, and romance. Every day an escape from the ordinary. He said he had always dreamed of being with a woman like me, someone who should be cherished, not taken for granted. I was swept up by it all, the attention, the secrecy, the sense of being wanted again. So, when Marcus received a job offer out of state and asked me to go with him, I didn't even pause. I told myself I deserved to be happy. That life was too short. That the kids would understand one day. I'll never forget the day I left. I waited for David to leave for work, packed 2 suitcases, and sat my 5 children down. The oldest was 14, the youngest still in diapers. I told them Mommy needed to go away for a while to find happiness, and that one day they'd understand. But I'll never forget the look in their eyes, confused, frightened, and silently begging me not to leave. It still haunts me. I left a letter for David, confessing that I had fallen for someone else. I told him I couldn't keep pretending, that he was a good man but we had grown apart, and that I needed to follow my heart. I truly believed I was being brave and honest. But here's what I never saw coming. Marcus didn't want a ready-made family. Within half a year, he began complaining every time I spoke to the kids. He accused me of being stuck in the past and told me to focus on the life we were building. When I wanted to fly home for my daughter's graduation, he guilted me into staying, warning it would disrupt the momentum of our relationship. The passionate dream I had sacrificed everything for, it lasted only 18 months. Marcus left me for a younger woman. No kids, no complications. Just like that, I was alone in a city where I knew no one, without money, and with 5 children who barely spoke to me anymore. I tried to return. I convinced myself that David would take me back. After all, we had shared so much, built a life, raised a family. I thought being the mother of his children meant something. But David had filed for divorce the week I left. He picked up a 3rd job just to afford childcare. And somehow, he managed to keep our family afloat. When I arrived at the house we once shared, he opened the door, looked at me in silence for a moment, and said, "The kids are at school. You have 30 minutes to collect anything you left behind." That was it. No argument. No tears. Just calm, distant finality. Fast forward to today. David never remarried. He dedicated his life to raising our kids. All 5 of them are now grown, professionals, parents, and thriving. They're doctors, engineers, teachers, but none of them will speak to me. I've tried everything. I've sent birthday cards only to have them returned unopened. Wedding invites go unanswered. I've shown up at graduations only to be escorted out by security. I've written letters pouring out my remorse, trying to explain that I was lost, selfish, and broken, that I never stopped loving them. David, now 60, still refuses to even acknowledge me. At events involving our children, he looks right through me, like I'm not even there. I've tried to approach him, to ask for just 5 minutes to explain, to apologize, to plead for forgiveness. But here's what I still struggle to accept. Why does he act like I haven't already suffered enough? Why can't he forgive me for one mistake made so long ago? I was young. I truly believed I was following my heart. Doesn't our 15-year marriage count for something? Don't the 5 children we raised together matter? I've spent years in therapy trying to make sense of his silence. Yes, I hurt him, but people make mistakes. People fall out of love and find it again. Why is he so determined to punish me forever? I look around and see other divorced parents who've learned to coexist, who attend school events side by side, who've let go of the pain. But David treats me like I died the day I walked out. And maybe in some ways, I did. What I've finally come to realize is this. Some betrayals run too deep to forgive. I didn't just leave David. I abandoned 5 children who still needed their mother. I traded their reality for a fantasy. I put my own fleeting happiness ahead of their lasting sense of safety. David didn't just lose a partner that day. He lost a co-parent he counted on. He lost a person who was supposed to stand beside him. He had to explain to 5 heartbroken children why their mother left him behind. He had to become both mother and father. He had to show up alone to every school play, help with homework, and wipe away their tears, while hiding his own. The reason David won't speak to me isn't hatred. It's survival. I remind him of the deepest wound he's ever endured. And just because I've now realized what I threw away doesn't mean I deserve forgiveness. Regret alone doesn't erase pain. And so here I am, 25 years later, still asking myself why the man I shattered won't help me rebuild what I broke. Still hoping that regret could unlock doors that have long since closed. Still believing that I'm sorry might somehow be enough, even when I know deep down that it never will be. The hardest truth I've had to accept: some doors, once shut, stay closed forever.